Ever since HBO put out Santa Inc.'s first trailer, there has been so much backlash surrounding this show. The writers took something as wholesome as Christmas and twisted it to push identity politics, and HBO thought that this show was gonna go over well with people, it was gonna take off, and it was gonna do amazing. It might have even been the biggest hit for the Christmas season, but the outrage has only gotten worse as the days have gone on. The show's sitting at a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes with still no critic score. Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman are silent on social media, and it's still being destroyed on YouTube. I have a couple of different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month or supporting via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I wanted to start off with this Bounding into Comics article, and then of course I'm going to show off the Rotten Tomatoes score, the IMDb score, Metacritic, their Twitter accounts. It says, by every available metric, Santa Inc. seems destined to go down in history as the Hindenburg of far-left pseudo-comedy. The new HBO Max series has been thoroughly X-rated on Rotten Tomatoes, with 3% of viewers finding it favorable. So audiences knew that Santa Inc. was going to be a disaster from the moment the first trailer dropped on YouTube, netting an eye-watering and unfathomable 100,000 plus dislikes in record time. Now, if we go on over to the official YouTube trailer, it does have right under 900,000 views, which is pretty good in about 2 weeks. HBO Max's official account has right over 1 million subscribers, but if we look at the like to dislike ratio, it is absolutely terrible. There are 4.2 thousand likes with almost 900,000 views, but 177,000 dislikes. This is a complete and utter ratio for HBO Max and Santa Inc. It's actually a little bit surprising because I figured by now there would be more likes on this trailer. There would just be more positivity around the situation, because usually when people are vocal about how they dislike a product, there's always those people who are going to counteract them and leave positive reviews, lots of likes, but those people aren't showing up for Santa Inc. right now. Santa Claus being white makes sense, as the Santa Claus character draws heavily from a mixture of 4th century Christianity and Norse paganism. However, the left sees Santa as little more than just another white male patriarch who must be replaced. Now, Santa Inc., like you guys know, is about wanting to destroy the all-white Christmas patriarchy, which is one of the worst plots for a show I think I've ever heard. I've talked about this before, but I think that people would have liked the show if it was adult humor and it made fun of Christmas a little bit and it was focused on comedy. But this series wasn't created to be funny and to focus on comedy. It was clearly created to shove as many narratives in people's faces as possible, and they thought that people would just shut up and accept it. People would just give it positive reviews, say, you know what, it's the Christmas season, so we all have to be happy and just like all the content that's coming out, even if it's bad. And we haven't. People are furious over the show. It's getting ratioed across the internet, and people have tried to give it a chance, tried to watch it. A lot of the reviews that I've shown off have said, I watched a couple of the episodes, I just couldn't get through it. Or people saying, I got through the show and it is just an abomination. It's a disaster. The meltdown began on Seth Rogen's official Twitter page, where he attacked the show's haters and labeled them as white supremacists, the standard tactic the left uses whenever someone disagrees with them. Now, I've talked about this a couple of times now, because Seth Rogen has been silent on social media ever since he made this post, and of course he received a ratio for it. You can't go around calling people white supremacists simply because they didn't like a show. People are allowed to have their own opinions. People are allowed to dislike content that's put out, whether it's a TV show or a movie or something on YouTube or a video game, whatever it may be. People are allowed to dislike things, and actors, directors, producers, whoever shouldn't be going around calling people disgusting and terrible things simply because they didn't like a TV show. Everyone must be a white supremacist because I can't find a positive review. And it's true. If you go on over to the official Rotten Tomatoes page for Santa Inc., it is sitting at a 4% audience score with over 1,100 user ratings. And there are just very, very few positive reviews here. I've seen a couple, 1.5 stars, 2.5 stars. There are a few 5 stars being thrown in, but not enough to raise the rating at all. So people are saying things like there was nothing Christmassy about this film outside of the imagery, crass, depressing, and horribly cliched with some of the worst comedy I've seen on screen and off. Excessive and unnecessary cursing. Incredibly vulgar and tone deaf, didn't laugh at a single joke. Really the worst thing I've ever possibly seen, claiming to be a Christmas special, all half stars and 1 stars. And I agree, I don't see anything redeemable about this series. Look at something like South Park. South Park has made many Christmas episodes over the years, many episodes making fun of Christmas and just the time of year in general. Yet it's never been taken this terribly because they went into this not trying to make it, a Christmas show with like slight adult humor. No, they tried to make people upset. They tried to trigger people, hoping to get a negative reaction so that they were thinking probably that the show was going to blow up more in popularity, that it was going to cause all this divide, but there were going to be people who were going to come to their rescue and leave tons of positive reviews, but those people are not showing up. Very mean-spirited. I enjoy Seth and Sarah's work for the most part, but this came across as very preachy and self-righteous within the first 5 minutes, and it never lets up. There are quite a few unfair jokes about Christmas traditions and the people who celebrate them. If they don't like Christmas, why disparage others from celebrating it? And it's true, a lot of people think that this series is very mean-spirited, the jokes aren't funny overall. It's a bit of a disaster for HBO and the creators, but if we look at the Rotten Tomatoes page, as it says a 4% audience score, but it says not enough ratings to calculate a critic score, which is very, very suspicious. Critics are almost never afraid to review shows and movies that are controversial, so when they refuse to now, it comes across as being afraid to get stuck in the middle of the controversy going on, because their opinions won't fit the left-leaning narrative they usually push. Maybe they think it's garbage as well. It comes off as wanting to protect Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman and themselves, so they're staying silent. And if we go over to the top critics, there are 2 critic reviews that have been left, but these have been up for days now. These have not changed at all since the controversy started, since people started calling out Santa Inc. They were left on December 1st and December 2nd, even before the show officially released, so these are critics that got to see it early, but as you can see, it's 50-50. There is a rotten review score, and then there's a fresh review score. One is from The Hollywood Reporter, and one is from Variety. But the first one, the Variety one, says Santa Inc. is about Christmas, but it also wants to be cooler than the genre of which it's a part. In elevating itself above its subject matter, Santa Inc. ends up feeling dour and heavy, a televised lump of coal. So this Variety reviewer did not like this series. They said it was bad, they said it was negative, they just said overall it didn't come across well, but the next review says Santa Inc. is proudly crude and immature without wholly abandoning the holiday spirit. And if you go to Google and type in Santa Inc. review, there are some individual websites that have put up reviews, but not the websites you'd expect. There aren't really any reviews up from websites like Hollywood Reporter or Variety, only reviews here on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, the critics are staying very silent on this series right now, and of course it comes across very suspicious. I truly think that Santa Inc. is going to fade away into oblivion. I don't think that Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman are going to make any more statements on it, and I don't really think HBO Max is going to make any more social media posts about it because they've been ratioed on anything they've posted about Santa Inc. But I guess only time will tell. That's all that I really had to discuss in this video though. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.